Good evening. The January 19th, 2022 meeting of the West Springfield Planning Board hereby called to order at 6 p.m. In accordance with MGL Chapter 30A, I must announce that anyone intending to tape the meeting must identify themselves to the clerk and provide his or her name and address for the record. And we inform those present that any document that is to be considered or discussed must be made a part of the record of the meeting, and the original or copy must be submitted to the committee before there will be any discussion regarding that document. Documents include photos, plans, drawings, computer printouts and simulation, video presentations and the like, as well as letters and written material. Okay, we have no public hearings. We got minutes.
Move to approve the minutes from the meeting January 5th, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Against? Abstain?
Aye.
Okay, I said aye, I think. I don't remember what I said. All right, action items?
So, I don't know what, I don't have the agenda. I think it's under new old business is your only
Yep.
item on the agenda tonight, so no action items.
So, all right, so let's take care of that one first. Okay, site plan review, 1201 Westfield Street, Dish Wireless, conditional site plan approval discussion. Is that you? Come on up, name and address for the record, and go for it.
All right. My name is Keenan Brin, B-R-I-N-N. I work for a company called Network Building and Consulting. We're at 100 Apollo Drive in Chelmsford, Mass. I'd like to make a couple of clarifying remarks. I'm not sure where you want to start on this.
I can't hear you for some reason. Pick the microphone up a little bit.
Okay. Is that better?
There you go.
Sorry. I'd like to make a couple of clarifying remarks. I'm here as a representative for both American Tower and Dish Network. I've done plenty of zoning and permitting work for them in the past. I was never asked to be involved in this, so I don't know why it happened. What happened. I never saw the tower until tonight, to be honest with you. But that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to let you know that. But they did give me some information. I've got enough that I can certainly speak to it coherently. But lastly, I'm here, duly authorized by American Tower. They were the ones that asked me to come out. And I guess Dish Networks would have to, be a separate discussion, when they come back, I guess, or whatever they do. I don't know what they want to do at this point, but.
So you said American Tower?
Yeah, they were the ones that asked me to come out. They actually own the tower and control that land there. So
Hey, we finally got the name of the people that.
yeah, I can get into that a little bit. I did try to piece it together. But lastly is, I'm here as a duly authorized representative, but I don't write checks for these guys. So I understand this is more of a discussion and not a formal meeting. So I just want you to, if I did say something and you said, well, we thought it was this, I still need to go back to them and kind of give them a kind of a report of what I found out, or, kind of where we think we stand.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to make sure I get that out there.
Good.
So I don't know where you want to start with this. I mean, I know the background on the original meeting, and I have the conditions, and I think maybe I was just going to try to work my way through those and explain a couple things that you may or may not be aware of.
Not to be a wise guy, but you wanted to come here, so you start wherever you want. I mean, I don't want to rehash stuff we already did, but if you got questions or something about what was done, then.
Yep, and again, so what I did was I went, someone set this up and they asked me to come out here, so, but they went back to American Tower and said, here are the conditions, and I kind of got, unfortunately, I didn't have a good grasp, or I don't think American Tower had a good grasp of all the conditions and what they actually stated, but I'd like to try to go through them and just see if I can, clarify a few things. And there's a couple things I think we need to have maybe a further discussion about, and potentially kind of a subsequent meeting, but you can tell me that, all right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so condition number one, I'm reading from site plan conditional approval. It looks like a stamp on it from November 10th, so I assume you have the same document here. First one is, prior to the issuance of a building permit, the applicant or property owner shall provide to the planning department, et cetera, name and contact information. No problem, okay? I'll make sure that American Tower gets you whatever you need for that site, you know. I was over there tonight, it was on the later side. A lot of times they'll have they should have a sign posted with a contact number, but, you know, obviously it doesn't hurt to have that at, you know, within the city hall itself. So I got that, you know, I'll make sure I follow through on that and get it. Second, prior to the issuance of a building or electrical permit, all overgrowth, dead vegetation, and trash shall be removed from the property. Again, I don't think American Tower has a problem with keeping the property clean, but here's the issue, and I'll try to do the best job I can of explaining it. That property has what they call a perpetual easement on it, and I brought a copy of it with me, and if, you know, you're welcome to look at it. It was, so how that works is, they'll have like this property was a rectangular property, and what they did, the original, I just pieced this together this morning, but Green Mountain Communications looks like they bought the property in 2012 or 13. And this is all documented on the assessor's card as well. So what they go ahead and do is they cut out what they call this perpetual easement, which is basically a 70 by 70 square with an access road coming in there, and they enjoy utility and access rights along that. So that gets recorded just like an easement would, and I think the way I read it now is it looks like Green Mountain went and permitted a tower sometime in the last 8 years. It looked like, I don't know exactly when it was, but I'd like to get that information if I could at some point. And they went ahead and, so they had this perpetual easement, developed a tower. The tower got built with Verizon. It looks like Verizon came in as the initial tenant or the co-location which is required, and they're the lead tenant. And I think that's why Verizon ends up on the assessor's card as the owner. But from what I can tell, American Tower is the owner of the tower, and then that's because Green Mountain went ahead and sold it to American Tower. So American Tower ended up with the pole and then that 4,900 square foot perpetual easement. So they control that and only that. So then they went ahead and sold the house to somebody else. So there's no financial.
Just in the essence of time,
Yeah,
we've clarified that over the last few days.
okay,
So we understand that we can't hold them accountable to clean up the guy's backyard.
okay.
That is not what we were looking at.
Okay.
And I went over there before the last hearing, and as far as I was concerned, that plot
Okay.
was,
Yep.
there was stumps, because originally, there was supposed to be a fence and then arborvitae's around it
Okay.
to block the fence.
Yep.
Well, all those died.
Yeah, which I
So
know
all of
that.
a sudden, when I
Yeah.
went there this morning, they're all gone. The slats are fixed in the fence. It doesn't look as bad as it did
2 weeks ago, whatever you.
whenever it
Okay, yeah.
was, a month ago, whatever.
Okay,
So I can't say anybody went there, fixed it. I can't say anybody didn't. But I can tell you either I'm nuts or someone did something over there.
Yeah.
Since the last meeting.
Okay,
So honestly, just in the essence of time, who owns that property? The junk in the guy's backyard has nothing to do with.
okay, I just want to
Your
clarify
plot,
that. Yeah,
and we
they
do
read it as the whole
No,
property.
no,
Okay.
we understand
Okay,
that.
good, that saves me,
Yeah,
okay.
well, that's what I just don't want
And
you
then,
to.
so condition 3, when just moving along, the existing pole and attachments shall be cleaned and stripped of any peeling paint. And I got a wishy-washy answer on this, but American Tower agreed that they would need to, in the spring or the summer, could go ahead and certainly touch up the tower where needed. They agreed that that's something that needs to get done. So, no, I don't think there seems to be an issue there.
Well, with them, they don't have an issue. With me, and I can't speak for anybody else, there's an issue because they were asked to maintain that the last one, not the last meeting for
Okay.
this, but before. So you gotta understand where we're coming from. When we put requirements on way back, whether it was a couple years, I don't remember the last time, to be honest with you. It wasn't the most recent.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, we put conditions, they're gonna do it. Guess what? They didn't do it. So that's why we asked for who was responsible for the property, who was responsible for the tower.
Yep.
Because all we know is whoever comes in front of us.
Yeah, and
Last week or last month, there was 4 guys, all nice guys, but no one could answer that question.
Yeah.
Now you're here, and
Yeah.
you're really not responsible for that either. So it was like,
yeah.
where do we go?
Yeah, again, I don't want to have this back and forth going either, but I just want, I think at some point, I would submit to them that, if you want to continue this discussion or, permitting the tower, that maybe get a representative out here from American Tower that would say, oh, I am the regional construction guy, or I'm the regional property manager, something like that, yeah. And I noticed in your conditions here, you did say no building permit to be issued, so I know you're trying to, hold them to the fire in that regard. Okay, so now the next one is the issue of the fence, and they seem to have a real problem with that. I think if they went out and fixed the slats, but they seem to think the fence is in accordance with what was originally permitted, which was a fence around the equipment. And now I think what you came back with last time was a 10-foot vinyl fence.
So my knee-jerk answer to that is, maybe when that thing was first built, the 6-foot fence with the slats was okay, but doesn't mean that just because it was okay then, that things don't change and we don't have different requests, just like building permit laws change, where you might need a 42-inch railing, now you need a 46-inch railing. Not saying this is a legal requirement, it was just something that we looked at because of how bad it looked when we went over there 2 months ago. And again, neighbors
Sure, I mean.
came to us, it just looked terrible with dead arborvitae, so we said, look, let's not record. The reason we went with the 10-foot fence.
I made a note of it, yeah.
The reason we suggested the 10-foot vinyl fence was so next time when something like this comes up, we don't have to say, okay, put a 6-foot fence up with arborvitaes.
Yeah,
Obviously, the arborvitaes was to grow and block it in. That never happened. So from standing on the side of the property looking at it, a 10-foot fence would solve that problem. No one would have to maintain the bushes, blah, blah, blah. That's how the fence came up. So as far as whether it was okay when they built it, that's irrelevant to what we're doing now.
And how would I be able to get it, is there some way I can get a copy of the original decision for the tower when it was built?
Should be public. I guess
Yeah,
I would
so-
request it. Oh, go ahead.
I do have a plan that shows the arborvitae that were supposed to be around it, and I'm sure the fence as well. The problem is that now they're coming back asking to continuously add on to this pole, and the character of the pole has changed dramatically.
That's where I was going, yeah. Because
So-
I'd be curious as to what was approved, because now I see that, I was just out there, at 4:30 today, but I see people have added on, and one of the other conditions here is that it's supposed to be concealed and so forth, and everything seems to be kind of out in the open, so.
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering about the original decision and what was actually,
Yeah, it
agreed
was
upon or
supposed to be
whatever.
a monopole, a flagpole, and since then, they've added cables on the outside
Outside, I
and
saw
some
that, yeah.
additional things that have, like I said, changed the character.
And again, I'm trying to move this along, but I know a lot of these flagpoles went up, and now they're finding that the antennas are bigger, they got radios in there, they got, all this other stuff. And now they're realizing that there's not enough room in there. But I have seen instances where they've kind of put like a shroud on the
So
outside of it, or
again,
something like that.
At one of the last meetings,
4 years ago.
4 years ago, that was discussed. And we were told that they were gonna, camouflage it with what you're talking, or they were gonna spray everything the same color. So all these promises and all these requirements that they said they were gonna do, and I don't care whether it was American Tower, Green Mountain, or Verizon, didn't get done.
Yeah.
So as a board, we have to look out for the best interest of the town and their neighbors. And right now, the best interest isn't you guys as a representative
No, I
of them.
understand where
Because
yeah.
they're not doing what they said they were gonna do.
Okay. And again, it's hard for me to stand here and say, I think if someone was in this room ahead, and I'm not pointing fingers, I'm just saying, if someone promised it to you, then it's hard for me to stand here and say, it should.
And you never see that guy again.
I
Probably
understand.
doesn't work for him
Yeah,
anymore, right?
Yeah, and I used to work for a tower company out of Pittsfield, so I did a lot. I didn't, I guess, not that it matters, but I never did that. And I remember we used to promise the arborvitaes, and then 2 years later, they were dead. No one's there to water them, that's the whole problem, so. And again, I see this other number 5, all improvements to the facility and its components shall be camouflaged as per zoning, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna get around that. And again, I think one of the issues at American Tower from this email, it's a private email, they were trying to say that this would be, all the stuff that you were asking about was the things that Dish Network would do when they installed. But what I'm hearing from you, it's more of a comprehensive, correct? For everything that's out there, like the camouflaging and the,
Yeah, that goes back even
yeah,
further.
yeah, okay. I think they read it to be, well, we just gotta make sure we camouflage the Dish Network stuff, but I think it's, okay, I get, I'm telling you how they,
For the record, to
Yep.
be clear,
yep,
the whole thing goes back again 4 years ago
Yep.
where it was supposed to be done.
Yep.
So unfortunately, when stuff like this happens, we're gonna be a little bit more diligent and follow through with some of the stuff that we request
okay.
in the future.
Yep. All right, so the last major issue, and I just want to understand this too, all exterior lighting shall be designed, installed, shielded, and maintained to prohibit viewing of the lighting element from the towers. There's no light on the tower now.
It's more, if there's any lighting around the equipment, that it doesn't shine in
Okay.
neighboring
So,
properties.
okay, that's how the American Tower read it, like at night.
Yeah,
maybe.
we haven't gotten any complaints about that, it's just more of a standard, they are
Okay.
adding equipment in to make sure that there's no lighting associated with that will affect neighboring properties.
Okay, all right, that's, I can,
Yeah,
at least
that's
I
like
can,
a
that one I
normal-
can explain.
Normal
Okay.
condition.
Yeah, that seems to, and I guess the last one, which I don't know if it's an issue or not, it says the lot shall not be developed, regraded, or altered in any manner that will increase surface water drainage to abutting streets or properties. And again, I would just
Standard.
repeat that, they wouldn't go outside that fenced area, and whatever
Well,
happens.
they can't even modify inside the fence area.
Well, they can't build up like a berm within the fence area,
Okay.
that's gonna
We
drain
can-
out into the
So,
neighboring property.
but anytime someone wants to put equipment on that tower, did they have to come in front of you, or just the first time they come?
Every time.
Every time, okay, so that's something you would, you could possibly police anyhow, if they came to you and said they wanted to raise it up, you could deny that.
Right.
Okay,
But for this particular project,
Okay.
and that's all we're talking about, is they're gonna go in there and do something to the top of the tower. They can't regrade even their piece of property so that the water sheds off to
Okay.
the neighbors.
so that applies in this instance to Dish Network specifically, or anybody.
I won't
yeah.
answer that question, cause it's
Yeah.
whoever is doing the work, whoever owns the property.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is very difficult to understand. It'd be like someone owns an apartment block and they got a tenant. It's not the tenant's responsibility to decide whether the railings are the right height. It's the landlord.
Yeah.
So whoever is the landlord and whoever's building the tower, I mean, to me, Dish has got the least responsibility.
Yeah, again,
But that's irrelevant.
Yeah, right.
It's not my decision. So, if Dish wants to work with the landlord and come up with a deal of who's gonna pay for the fence, that's none of our business.
Yep, they just wanted to make sure that I clarified that to them, that, Dish is going on with their equipment, but, American Tower is responsible for, whatever else is going on. The only other thing is, I was gonna recommend to, American Tower to straighten out the assessor's card is either wrong, or it's still showing Verizon Wireless, so that's sounds like American Tower real estate problem that we could either figure out, or maybe it's correct, but I know there was mention somewhere, in one of the applications that Verizon Wireless on, I think someone noted that maybe it was the wrong owner or something like that, and then maybe it is, but that's what they had in the assessor's office, so they,
Yeah, I suspect the assessor's card is related to personal property tax, because the pole
Yep.
is taxed differently than property
yeah,
tax.
and again,
so.
I tried to piece it together just 7 or 8 years ago.
Check with the registry of deeds, that's where
Yeah.
it should be,
Yeah.
should be recorded.
So anyhow, what I foresee, I'll go back to American Tower. I'm gonna have, somebody from American Tower, I think there's a field representative that corresponded with me, and I think he should, if he wants to, try to address any of these, or, maybe, I mean, Dish Wireless is, we represent them as well, and I know they still wanna move ahead with this, and you have no issue with that, right? They could go.
You meet those conditions, it's
And
already
if
approved for those
American Tower
conditions.
says we can't do this and they want to come back to you, then I would, I'm happy to tag along, but I gotta have somebody here from American Tower if they want to, if they're gonna.
I guess, and again, maybe you don't know, what is their concern? Like, there's some conditions on there.
Yeah.
The worst one to me, or the most expensive one, is is the fence.
Yeah, and again,
And I would assume a month,
I think there were two-pronged. One was the, the ownership of the property in the sense that, they want to be responsible, anything but, what they own. Okay, and that's, I think we've confirmed that. And then the second one is, I'm sure they look at this, like anything. It's, any of these, a lot of these conditions involve, the spending of money. So I think that's part of it, and if they want to object to that, then, again, I'm here is just trying to gather some information. So anyhow, that's what I had to say, and I don't know if you had any
you got,
questions.
we gave you what you need as far as answers. Is there something you didn't?
No, again, you've provided everything I've asked. I just don't, and I can only work off of, what I was provided. Oh, I did have one, question. I'm not sure it's of much importance, but there was a letter of comment from the health department. Is that something standard for this? I didn't see the letter in my files, not that I.
Yeah, we put out all of our projects for review from
Okay.
department heads. I have a copy of it if you'd like it, and it should
I
have
just
gone
want to know if
to.
there was some issue that was raised or something like that.
They did, I think they commented on the condition of the property
Okay.
and
See, that's
the
good, that's, okay, yep,
lack of maintenance, yeah.
okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, again.
No problem. And Allison will correct me if I'm wrong. If for some reason they look at that, well, they would, and don't wanna, do the fence.
Yeah.
They gotta start all over again. It's not like you can just come back and change it.
No,
You
no,
have to have a public
yeah.
hearing and all that stuff, so.
That's what I mean.
It costs them more to do that than it will to just do the
Yeah,
fence.
so they either accept these conditions as is, if I'm understanding that, or if they want to object to something, like, that's what I was saying, they'd have to come back and go, I think I saw an email somewhere about there that they, that would be the procedure. It's not like you just, hey, we want to change this out, they'd come back for the, for the,
And the only reason I bring that up is, all of a sudden you go back, blah, 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 you waste 2 weeks talking to them, they decide, yeah, we want to come back and start over again. This could drag out for 2 months.
yeah, I know.
That's 2 months' rent they're missing from Dish, we'll pay for the fence.
Yeah, I don't want to go do this back and forth,
Right.
it's, anyhow, I can I think I at least can make a cohesive summary and get back to them, and then they can, if they want to pursue something.
And
or do
there's no
something else.
issue if you got a question to call and
Yep.
and she has my permission to give you my phone number if
Okay,
I'm not around,
yeah.
whatever, if you got questions, we're here to help.
I know,
But
again,
we-
I think this has been fine. I mean, and, what I wasn't sure what to expect, and someone just said, get in the car and I drive 2 hours, so I mean, that's where I'm at.
We hope to see you back tomorrow.
Well, anyhow, appreciate your time.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
Appreciate it. Okay, Allison, what else?
Nothing else, can move to adjourn.
Hold up. I thought, weren't we supposed to be looking at a bond or something today?
Not tonight, we did not,
Okay.
it didn't come in until Monday, it couldn't get posted in time for open meeting law.
Okay. That's it?
Motion to adjourn?
All those in favor?
Aye.